The Tesla free energy generator. In 1899, Nikola Tesla created a wireless power system that could give unlimited free electricity to the whole world. His Wardenclyffe Tower project successfully showed the technology, powering electrical devices across Long Island without any wires or fuel sources. Within 2 years, the project was shut down. The tower was torn down, and all proof of Tesla's discovery was carefully destroyed. Tesla's free energy system worked by using what he called radiant energy, electromagnetic radiation that fills all space and can be changed into usable electricity. His tower created a vibration effect with the Earth's natural electrical field, basically turning the entire planet into a wireless power source that could supply unlimited energy to any receiver tuned to the correct frequency. Written records showed Tesla's system powering entire neighborhoods on Long Island using nothing more than special receivers that collected energy from the air itself. People who saw it described light bulbs glowing without any connection to power lines, electric motors running continuously without fuel, and heating systems operating forever without any energy source. J.P. Morgan, who had paid for the project, immediately stopped funding when he realized that free energy would destroy the profit model of the electrical power industry. Morgan reportedly told Tesla, "If anyone could draw on the power, where do we put the meter?" The money problems were huge. Tesla's invention threatened to get rid of the need for power companies, coal mining, and oil use for electrical generation. Federal agents took all of Tesla's research materials immediately after his death in 1943, labeling his free energy patents under national security orders that remain in effect today. The FBI took over 80 trunks of Tesla's documents, including detailed plans for making the wireless power system work across the entire globe. Independent researchers who tried to copy Tesla's free energy system have faced organized harassment. In 1957, engineer Lester Hendershot built a working copy of Tesla's radiant energy collector and showed it to military officials. Within weeks, Hendershot's laboratory was raided by federal agents. His device was taken, and he was warned never to discuss his work again. The hiding continues today. Patent applications for free energy devices are immediately labeled under the Inventions Secrecy Act, stopping inventors from developing or discussing their technologies publicly. Over 5,000 patents remain labeled under secrecy orders, many involving energy generation systems that would get rid of dependence on fossil fuels. Tesla's free energy system represented more than a technology breakthrough. It was a threat to the basic economic structure of modern civilization. Unlimited free power would have gotten rid of energy scarcity, reduced industrial costs to nearly zero, and completely changed the balance of global economic power. The technology that could have freed humanity from energy dependence was deliberately erased to protect the interests of industries built on artificial scarcity. Tesla's vision of abundant free energy for all humanity was sacrificed to keep the profit margins of companies that control the world's power supply. The Rife cancer cure machine. In the 1930s, Dr. Royal Raymond Rife invented a microscope so powerful it could observe living viruses and bacteria in real time and discovered that specific electromagnetic frequencies could destroy cancer cells without harming healthy tissue. His frequency therapy successfully cured cancer in clinical trials with 100% success rates before being carefully hidden by the medical establishment that profited from expensive, ineffective treatments. Rife's universal microscope achieved magnifications of over 60,000 times using a revolutionary optical system that made living microorganisms visible without killing them. Using this technology, he identified the specific electromagnetic signature of cancer-causing viruses and developed frequency generators that could destroy these germs selectively. The Rife frequency therapy worked by hitting cancer cells with precise electromagnetic pulses that matched their natural vibration frequency. Like an opera singer shattering a wine glass with the right note, Rife's machine could destroy harmful cells by hitting them with their exact vibrational frequency, while leaving healthy cells completely unaffected. Clinical trials conducted in 1934 at the University of Southern California showed remarkable results. 16 terminal cancer patients were treated with Rife's frequency therapy, and within 70 days 14 were completely cured. The remaining 2 patients recovered fully after their treatment plans were adjusted, achieving a 100% cure rate for terminal cancer cases. Dr. Milbank Johnson, who directed the clinical trials, prepared to announce the revolutionary cancer cure to the medical world. But before the results could be published, Johnson died suddenly of mysterious circumstances, and all records of the cancer cure trials disappeared from university records. The American Medical Association, led by Morris Fishbein, immediately started a campaign to discredit Rife's work. Medical journals refused to publish papers on frequency therapy. Researchers who supported Rife's work lost their funding, and doctors who used the Rife machines were threatened with loss of their medical licenses. In 1939, agents working for pharmaceutical interests broke into Rife's laboratory and destroyed his research materials, including irreplaceable components of his universal microscope. The remaining Rife machines were carefully tracked down and destroyed, and technicians who had built the devices were scared into silence. The hiding was economic as well as scientific. Cancer treatment had become a billion-dollar industry by the 1940s, creating enormous profits for pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, and medical equipment manufacturers. Rife's simple, inexpensive cure threatened to get rid of the entire cancer treatment industry overnight. Several researchers who tried to copy Rife's work died under suspicious circumstances. Dr. Nemes, who had reproduced the frequency therapy results, was found dead in his laboratory under conditions that investigators called mysterious but not suspicious. Dr. Kush, another Rife supporter, died suddenly just before testifying about the cancer cure's effectiveness. Rife spent his final years fighting legal battles and patent disputes, poor and broken by the careful destruction of his life's work. The technology that could have saved millions of lives was erased to protect the profits of an industry that benefits from treating disease rather than curing it. The Brown anti-gravity device. In 1928, physicist Thomas Townsend Brown discovered that electrically charged objects experience a force that appears to defy gravity, leading to the development of anti-gravity technology that could revolutionize transportation and space travel. His electrogravitic research successfully showed controlled flight using electrical fields alone before being classified and hidden under national security restrictions that continue today. Brown's breakthrough came from observing that capacitors, devices that store electrical charge, experience a net force when charged with high voltage. The capacitors would move toward their positive electrode, creating thrust without any fuel or moving parts. This Biefeld-Brown effect suggested that electricity and gravity were connected in ways that contradicted Einstein's general relativity. In 1952, Brown showed his anti-gravity technology to military officials using disc-shaped capacitors that could fly around a circular course under their own power. The devices achieved speeds of several hundred miles per hour using only electrical energy, with no jets, propellers, or reaction mass of any kind. The implications were huge. Brown's electrogravitic could enable spacecraft that didn't require fuel, aircraft that could hover forever using only battery power, and transportation systems that operated silently and without environmental impact. The technology promised to revolutionize every aspect of human mobility and space exploration. Classified military research into electrogravitic began immediately with projects codenamed Winter Haven and Project, while receiving substantial funding from the Air Force and Navy. Brown was recruited to develop military applications of anti-gravity technology, including disc-shaped aircraft that could outperform any conventional fighter plane. By 1955, Brown had developed electrogravitic devices that could lift their own power supplies and achieve sustained flight. Classified demonstrations showed disc-shaped craft powered by high-voltage generators achieving remarkable performance characteristics that conventional aircraft couldn't match. The research was suddenly classified in 1956 under national security orders that made public discussion of electrogravitic illegal. Brown's patents were seized. His research facilities were closed, and all records of anti-gravity technology were removed from public access. The official explanation was that the research had failed to produce practical results. Independent investigators discovered that major aerospace companies had secretly included electrogravitic research into advanced aircraft programs. Aviation Week magazine reported in 1956 that several aircraft manufacturers were developing flamejet engines and electrogravitic propulsion systems for next-generation military aircraft. The suppression of Brown's anti-gravity technology appears to have been caused by strategic military considerations rather than scientific validity. If electrogravitic could enable revolutionary aircraft capabilities, controlling the technology would provide decisive military advantages to nations that possessed it. Brown died in 1985, still prohibited from discussing his breakthrough discovery that electricity could overcome gravity. His anti-gravity technology remains classified, hidden within government laboratories where it may have contributed to advanced aircraft programs that officially don't exist. The Keeley motor mystery. In 1872, inventor John Worrell Keeley developed a motor that ran on what he called sympathetic vibration, pulling unlimited energy from sound waves and molecular vibration. His demonstrations powered heavy machinery, using nothing more than musical tones and harmonic frequencies before the technology was hidden by investors who realized it would destroy the industrial economy. Keeley's motor worked by using what he called etheric force, the vibrational energy that he claimed existed within all matter. By creating specific acoustic frequencies, his device could tap into this molecular motion and convert it into mechanical work, basically creating a perpetual motion machine that broke the laws of thermodynamics. Public demonstrations in Philadelphia showed Keeley's motor lifting enormous weights, powering industrial equipment, and running continuously for hours using only sound waves created by tuning forks and acoustic devices. The motor appeared to pull limitless energy from the air itself, requiring no fuel, electricity, or external power source. Scientists and investors who watched the demonstrations confirmed that Keeley's machine produced far more energy than any known power source could provide. The device generated thousands of horsepower using only vibrations that Keeley created with simple musical instruments and acoustic resonators. The Keeley Motor Company was formed in 1874 with funding from wealthy investors who recognized the revolutionary implications of unlimited free energy. But as development progressed, investors realized that Keeley's technology would make existing industrial infrastructure useless, destroying fortunes built on coal, steam, and mechanical power. Organized sabotage of Keeley's work began in 1881 when investors demanded that he reveal the secret of his vibrational energy source. When Keeley refused to share the complete principles behind his motor, funding was withdrawn and legal action was taken to seize his equipment and research materials. After Keeley's death in 1898, investigators who examined his laboratory claimed to find evidence of fraud, including hidden compressed air systems that they said had powered his demonstrations. However, these debunking efforts were funded by the same investors who had withdrawn support from his research and had financial interests in hiding the technology. Independent analysis of Keeley's work suggests that his vibrational motors operated on principles of acoustic vibration and molecular harmonic frequency that wouldn't be understood by mainstream science until the development of quantum mechanics decades later. His etheric force appears to describe zero-point energy extraction through harmonic manipulation. Modern researchers have successfully copied aspects of Keeley's vibrational energy systems, achieving limited success with acoustic motors that generate more power than their input energy should theoretically allow. These experiments suggest that Keeley may have discovered real principles of energy extraction from molecular vibration. The Keeley motor represented technology that could have gotten rid of humanity's dependence on fossil fuels and centralized power generation over a century ago. Its suppression and later debunking protected industrial interests that profited from energy scarcity and prevented the development of truly sustainable technology. The Hutchison effect apparatus. In 1979, Canadian inventor John Hutchison accidentally discovered that specific combinations of electromagnetic fields could cause objects to levitate, change elements, and defy the laws of physics in ways that mainstream science insists are impossible. His Hutchison effect demonstrations were witnessed by military officials and scientists before his equipment was taken and his research was classified under national security restrictions. The Hutchison effect occurred when multiple electromagnetic generators, Tesla coils, Van de Graaff generators, and RF signal generators were operated at the same time in Hutchison's laboratory. The crossing electromagnetic fields created zones where normal physics stopped working, causing metal objects to spontaneously levitate, fuse together, or transform into different materials. Video documentation shows aluminum bars bending like rubber, pieces of metal lifting off tables and floating in midair, and different materials fusing together at the molecular level without heat or pressure. Objects placed in the electromagnetic field zones showed behavior that broke conservation of energy, mass, and momentum. Military officials from the United States and Canadian governments observed Hutchison's demonstrations and confirmed that the effects were real. Colonel John Alexander from the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command witnessed materials levitating and changing, reporting that the phenomena couldn't be explained by any known scientific principles. The most remarkable aspect of the Hutchison effect was its ability to change matter at the atomic level. Steel bars would partially change into aluminum. Wood would fuse with metal, and objects would spontaneously change their molecular composition in ways that seemed to break the basic laws of chemistry and nuclear physics. In 1990, Hutchison's laboratory equipment was taken by Canadian authorities acting on behalf of international military interests. His electromagnetic generators, records, and experimental materials were seized and classified under national security orders that prohibited him from discussing or copying his work. Attempts to reproduce the Hutchison effect by government laboratories have reportedly been successful, but remain classified. Internal documents suggest that military researchers have included Hutchison's discoveries into advanced weapons programs that can control matter and gravity using electromagnetic field interactions. The hiding of Hutchison's work appears motivated by the revolutionary implications of field effect matter manipulation. If electromagnetic fields can cause levitation, changing, and defiance of physical laws, the technology could revolutionize manufacturing, transportation, and material science while making conventional military hardware useless. Hutchison has continued his research in secret despite government harassment and the taking of his equipment. He claims to have developed portable devices that can create localized zones of change physics. But demonstration of these technologies has been prohibited by national security restrictions. The Hutchison effect represents discovery of field interactions that could transform human understanding of matter, energy, and the basic structure of reality. Its organized suppression suggests that powerful interests prefer to keep this knowledge restricted rather than allow its development for civilian applications. The Reich orgone accumulator. In the 1940s, psychiatrist Wilhelm Reich developed devices that could gather and concentrate what he called orgone energy, a universal life force that could treat diseases, control weather, and power motors without fuel. His orgone technology successfully showed healing effects and weather modification before Reich was imprisoned, and his research was carefully destroyed by federal authorities. Reich discovered orgone energy while studying the relationship between psychological health and biological energy. He found that living organisms naturally gather and give off a form of energy that could be concentrated using alternating layers of organic and metallic materials arranged in specific geometric patterns. The orgone accumulator consisted of a box-like structure with walls made from alternating layers of steel, wool, and organic materials like cotton or wood chips. This design created what Reich called an orgone field that could be used to treat illness, speed up healing, and restore biological vitality to living organisms. Medical testing showed that patients treated in orgone accumulators experienced big improvements in conditions including cancer, arthritis, and chronic fatigue. Temperature measurements confirmed that the devices created measurable heat without any power source, suggesting they were actually concentrating some form of environmental energy. Reich's weather modification experiments used large-scale orgone devices called cloud busters that could break up clouds, create rainfall, and control atmospheric conditions by controlling orgone energy flows in the atmosphere. Written demonstrations showed successful weather control over large geographical areas using only mechanical orgone manipulation devices. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration began investigating Reich's work in 1947, claiming that orgone energy didn't exist and that his medical claims were fake. Despite extensive records and witness testimony supporting Reich's discoveries, federal authorities got court orders prohibiting the distribution of orgone devices. In 1956, federal agents raided Reich's laboratory and destroyed his research materials, including books, papers, and orgone accumulators. The organized destruction was so thorough that agents even burned Reich's scientific journals and personal letters, getting rid of decades of research into bioenergy effects. Reich was imprisoned in 1957 on charges of contempt of court for continuing his orgone research in violation of federal orders. He died in federal prison 8 months later under circumstances that his supporters considered suspicious, effectively ending all legitimate research into orgone energy phenomena. Independent researchers who have tried to copy Reich's orgone accumulator have reported similar biological effects, including temperature oddities, enhanced plant growth, and measurable healing speed-up. These results suggest that Reich may have discovered real bioenergy principles that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. The hiding of Reich's orgone technology appears to have been caused by its implications for medical treatment and energy generation. If orgone accumulators could treat diseases and concentrate environmental energy, they threaten pharmaceutical profits and conventional power generation industries. The Coral Castle magnetic levitation system. Between 1923 and 1951, Edward Leedskalnin single-handedly built Coral Castle in Florida using massive coral blocks weighing up to 30 tons each. Working alone at night with only basic tools, Leedskalnin showed an unknown method of moving enormous stone blocks that appears to have involved magnetic levitation technology. After his death, all proof of his construction methods was carefully removed and classified. Leedskalnin claimed to understand the secrets of pyramid construction and anti-gravity, stating that he had discovered how the ancient Egyptians moved massive stone blocks using magnetic forces rather than mechanical advantage. He built his Coral Castle as a demonstration of these lost construction techniques. Witnesses occasionally observed Leedskalnin working at night and reported seeing him moving massive coral blocks as if they weighed nothing. The blocks would reportedly float through the air and position themselves exactly where Leedskalnin directed them, suggesting some form of magnetic or gravitational manipulation. The engineering required to move 30-ton blocks using normal methods would require heavy machinery that Leedskalnin didn't have. His basic tools, pulleys, chains, and hand-built tripods couldn't create the forces needed to lift and position stones weighing tens of thousands of pounds with the precision shown at Coral Castle. Leedskalnin's workshop contained unusual electrical equipment, including homemade generators, electromagnetic coils, and devices that he claimed could see magnetic currents. He spoke frequently about understanding magnetic current and the relationship between magnetism and gravity that mainstream science ignored. After Leedskalnin's death in 1951, government investigators immediately sealed his workshop and took all of his equipment and research notes. The devices he used for stone construction were removed and classified, and all records of his magnetic levitation methods were gotten rid of for public access. Analysis of the coral blocks at Coral Castle reveals cut marks and shaping that couldn't have been done with basic hand tools. The precision of the stone cutting and the complexity of the mechanical joints suggest the use of advanced tools that Leedskalnin officially didn't have. The positioning accuracy of the massive blocks goes beyond what would be possible using normal construction methods. Some stones are balanced so exactly on single points that they can be moved by hand pressure despite weighing tons, showing understanding of leverage and balance that approaches perfection. Modern attempts to move similar coral blocks using normal construction equipment have required multiple cranes and teams of workers. The fact that Leedskalnin accomplished the same work alone using basic tools suggests he had access to construction principles that remain unknown to normal engineering. The organized removal of Leedskalnin's construction equipment and research materials suggests that his magnetic levitation technology was too advanced to remain in public hands. The methods he used to move massive stones may have shown anti-gravity principles that government agencies preferred to keep classified. The Searle effect generator. In the 1960s, British electrical engineer John Searle developed a magnetic generator that produced unlimited free energy while showing anti-gravity effects that allowed it to lift off the ground and fly. His Searle effect generator, SEG, successfully powered entire buildings using magnetic field interactions alone before the technology was hidden by authorities and Searle's research facilities were destroyed. The SEG consisted of magnetic rollers that orbited around magnetized rings in specific geometric patterns. As the rollers moved around the rings, they created electrical current through magnetic induction while at the same time creating anti-gravity effects that reduced the device's apparent weight to zero. Demonstrations showed SEG devices producing kilowatts of electrical power without any input energy source, while at the same time levitating and flying through the air under their own power. The generators appeared to pull unlimited energy from magnetic field interactions that somehow didn't break conservation of energy laws. Witnesses described seeing Searle's generators floating above their mounting platforms while powering electrical loads that should have required substantial input power. The devices created electricity continuously without fuel, mechanical input, or any apparent energy source other than the magnetic interactions of their rotating parts. The SEG technology combined free energy generation with anti-gravity propulsion in a single device that could theoretically power spacecraft forever while providing their own lift and propulsion. The implications for space travel and energy generation were revolutionary, offering unlimited power and transportation capabilities. In 1968, British authorities raided Searle's laboratory and took his equipment, claiming that his generators were creating electrical interference with aircraft navigation systems. All SEG devices were destroyed, and Searle was prohibited from continuing his research under threat of imprisonment for breaking electronic emissions regulations. Searle spent several years in prison on charges related to electrical code violations and generator operation without proper permits. During his time in jail, all of his research materials were taken and destroyed, getting rid of decades of work on magnetic field energy extraction and anti-gravity technology. Attempts to copy Searle's work have been organized and hidden through patent interference, legal challenges, and denial of research funding. Scientists who have achieved partial success with SEG-type generators have faced harassment, equipment taking, and legal action that prevented further development. The hiding of Searle's technology appears motivated by its implications for energy independence and space propulsion. If magnetic generators could provide unlimited power while enabling anti-gravity flight, they would revolutionize transportation and get rid of dependence on fossil fuels and conventional electrical generation. Searle continues to work on SEG development despite decades of hiding, claiming that his magnetic generators represent a new form of physics based on magnetic field interactions that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. His technology remains classified and restricted from public development. The Schauberger implosion engine. In the 1940s, Austrian inventor Victor Schauberger developed revolutionary engines that created power through implosion rather than explosion, creating vortex effects that could produce unlimited energy while at the same time purifying air and water. His implosion technology showed efficiency levels impossible with normal engines before being taken by Allied forces and classified for military applications. Schauberger's implosion engines worked by creating spiral vortex patterns in air and water that concentrated energy inward rather than spreading it outward like normal explosion engines. The vortex implosion process created tremendous power while actually cooling the engine and producing pure energized air and water as byproducts. The repulsing implosion engine achieved remarkable performance characteristics, creating substantial horsepower while using minimal fuel and producing no harmful emissions. The engine operated almost silently and became more efficient as it ran longer, apparently pulling additional energy from the vortex implosion process itself. German military forces took interest in Schauberger's technology during World War II, asking him to develop implosion engines for advanced aircraft applications. His work contributed to disc-shaped aircraft prototypes that achieved flight characteristics impossible with normal propulsion systems. After the war ended, American intelligence forces captured Schauberger and took all of his research materials, including prototypes, blueprints, and records of implosion engine principles. He was questioned extensively about his vortex technology before being released with warnings never to continue his research. Schauberger's implosion engines showed energy efficiency levels that broke normal thermodynamic principles. The devices appeared to pull more energy from fuel than combustion chemistry should allow, suggesting they were tapping into additional energy sources through vortex manipulation of air and water molecules. The environmental benefits of implosion technology were revolutionary. Schauberger's engines produced purified air and water as exhaust products, actually improving environmental conditions while creating power. The technology offered pollution-free energy generation that could reverse environmental damage while providing unlimited clean power. In 1958, American businessmen convinced Schauberger to come to the United States to develop his implosion technology for commercial applications. However, after arriving, he was forced to sign contracts that gave complete control of his inventions to American corporations while prohibiting him from continuing independent research. Schauberger died in 1958 shortly after returning to Austria, reportedly broken by the hiding of his life's work. All of his implosion engine technology was classified and removed from public access, preventing the development of clean energy systems that could have gotten rid of environmental pollution from power generation. Modern researchers who have tried to copy Schauberger's vortex implosion principles have achieved limited success, but face organized hiding through patent denial, funding restrictions, and legal challenges that prevent the commercial development of implosion-based energy systems. The Philadelphia Experiment Teleportation Device. In 1943, the U.S. Navy conducted a classified experiment that successfully teleported the destroyer USS Eldridge from Philadelphia to Norfolk using an experimental electromagnetic field generator. The Philadelphia experiment showed matter transmission and invisibility technology that was immediately classified and hidden because it proved that physical reality could be controlled through electromagnetic field control. The experiment was based on Einstein's unified field theory, which suggested that electromagnetic and gravitational fields could be controlled to change space-time around physical objects by creating powerful electromagnetic fields around a ship. Researchers hoped to achieve radar invisibility, but instead achieved something far more extraordinary. On October 28, 1943, massive electromagnetic generators created a field around USS Eldridge that caused the ship to vanish completely from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Witnesses reported seeing the ship disappear in a flash of blue-green light, leaving only an indentation in the water where it had been docked. The ship reappeared minutes later at the Norfolk Naval Station in Virginia, over 200 miles away, having apparently traveled instantly through what could only be described as teleportation. Radar operators at Norfolk confirmed the ship's sudden appearance before it vanished again and returned to Philadelphia. The crew of USS Eldridge experienced severe psychological and physical effects from the teleportation process. Some sailors were found fused partially into the ship's metal structure. Others became invisible and couldn't turn the effect off. And many suffer from time displacement that left them existing partially outside normal time flow. Dr. Morris Jessup, who investigated the experiment, received detailed accounts from sailors who described the horrible effects of electromagnetic field exposure on human consciousness. The technology had succeeded in controlling physical reality, but at costs that made it too dangerous for practical application. The Navy immediately classified all records of the Philadelphia experiment and denied that any such research had happened. Witnesses were transferred to different assignments, sworn to secrecy, and threatened with court-martial if they discussed what they had observed. The teleportation technology showed that physical matter could be sent instantly across vast distances using electromagnetic field manipulation. The implications for transportation, communication, and military applications were revolutionary, offering capabilities that would completely transform human civilization. Independent researchers who investigated the Philadelphia experiment found evidence that the technology was based on principles of dimensional manipulation that allowed objects to travel through parallel space-time dimensions rather than normal three-dimensional space. This suggested that reality itself could be changed using electromagnetic field control. The organized hiding of teleportation technology appears motivated by its implications for military and economic control. If matter transmission became available, it would get rid of transportation industries, make military bases vulnerable to instant attack, and completely change the structure of global commerce and political power. These 10 erased inventions represent more than lost opportunities for technology progress. They're evidence of an organized pattern of hiding that protects existing power structures by getting rid of innovations that would completely transform human civilization. From Tesla's free energy systems to the Philadelphia experiment's teleportation technology, each breakthrough was gotten rid of not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well. What connects these hidden inventions isn't scientific impossibility, but economic and political threat. Free energy would get rid of utility companies. Cancer cures would destroy pharmaceutical profits. Anti-gravity would revolutionize transportation and make military aircraft useless. Matter changing would get rid of scarcity-based economics. Each technology was hidden because it challenged industries worth trillions of dollars. The pattern of hiding is the same across decades and continents. Brilliant inventors create revolutionary technologies, show their effectiveness to believable witnesses, then face organized harassment through patent seizure, equipment taking, legal harassment, and often mysterious deaths or disappearances. The innovations that could have created a golden age of human prosperity are buried in classified vaults or destroyed entirely. Perhaps most disturbing is what these erased inventions reveal about the nature of technology progress. Innovation isn't limited by scientific possibility, but by economic permission. Breakthrough technologies exist, but remain hidden because they threaten the profit margins of industries built on artificial scarcity and planned obsolescence. The 10 inventions written about here represent just a fraction of the revolutionary technologies that have been carefully erased from history. In classified facilities worldwide, breakthrough innovations gather dust while humanity continues to struggle with problems that were solved decades ago by inventors whose work was thought too dangerous for public knowledge. These erased inventions prove that the world we live in isn't the world we could have. It's the world that certain powers have decided we're allowed to have. The technologies that could get rid of poverty, cure diseases, provide unlimited clean energy, and transport us to the stars exist, but they've been locked away to keep the existing order that benefits from human limitation and dependence. The greatest tragedy isn't that these inventions were lost. It's that they were deliberately hidden, making sure that human potential remains artificially limited while revolutionary solutions to our greatest challenges remain forever just out of reach.